Welcome back to Gamers8 Bravo stream. This is it. 8 teams about to become 7. The final game of the day and the final game of the tournament for either G2 or the home team heroes, which are Falcons. My name is Gibson. I am joined by Whippet. And this is it. Day 1 elimination is calling for one of these two sides.
And I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect it to be the side of G2 going in that elimination. We were looking at this going, all right, M80 is going to be a difficult matchup for G2, but we think they'll be able to get over that mountain. Unfortunately, they didn't. It took all 3 maps to get there, but now they are fighting to remain at Gamers8 against, as you mentioned, the home crowd favorites, Falcons from the MENA region inside of their own Tier 1 league. Now, can they get the job done against G2 and send them home? That's going to be a very interesting question when it gets time for the action. But they were finalists here last year, and I'd imagine they want to continue that trend.
Yeah, first ever competitive matchup between these two sides as well. And probably not the last, now that thankfully we do have the MENA region represented inside of the ecosystem. Let's have a look at the map bans and see where we're going to be playing. Of course, Chalet and Bank, no surprise seeing those banned by either of these two sides. I'm feeling maybe we're going to get something a little bit similar to what we had earlier today, especially with G2 involved. We're about to get our first 2 maps revealed. I was going to say any last guesses, but we're going to get shown just in time.
I was going to say Cafe. On attack G2 were that good against M80 on this map. There's not a surprise they're going to go back there. I think it's going to be a very strong option for them. Second pick, this is going to be a very interesting one. I think both the remaining maps are going to remain reasonably default. I don't think any team wants to either show too much in their elimination matchup or take too many risks, considering the fact that if you lose this series, you're going home.
I'm thinking something along the lines of Villa, Oregon, or Club. And there, it's going to be Club. So, last map, Villa still inside the pool as far as I can tell. But there's also a map that's been trotted many a time as well. So do you think it'll be Villa? Do you think it'll be Oregon? Where do you think this last one's going to take us?
We've not seen Oregon on this B stream yet, so we're destined to get one sooner rather than later. So I'm going to say Oregon. And to me, again, this is a map that we know Falcons are reasonably good at as well. We saw, I believe they've pushed BDS last year all the way to 12 rounds in the grand final here at Gamers8 on Oregon as well. So I think that'll be one that we're going to see coming out again, nice and default. And it's not really a risky map for either team to bring out, considering how default it is. And with the stakes in this matchup, I'm going to say that's probably a safe pick. And well, Theme Park's next to go. So we all know where we're likely going to go with that one, Gibby.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Villa. It will be Oregon. And again, a map pick that I think most teams aren't going to complain about in the grand scale of things. 3 maps that have seen a lot of play over the course of the last 2 years. I think every player on both sides will be, not necessarily over the moon, but not disappointed either, because they know there's a great chance of going through. Speaking about the odds of going through, though, these two sides both lost their upper bracket games. Now, how you lose a game is important, and how you bounce back is also just as important. G2 went 3 maps and almost took it to overtime against M80. On the other side of things, a Falcon side, which we found out at the very last minute, decided to make a roster change with Quibs coming in to replace Valentino, who you and I are a player who were very excited about seeing. That might have destabilized them just a little bit, but they did not put in a good performance. Arguably, them and OXG have put in the 2 worst performances of the tournament so far, and they need to bounce back. But do you know what that means? There's more room for improvement for Falcons than there was for G2.
Exactly. I mean, difficult decision, right? There was a last-minute change to that roster. That's going to have kind of a trickle-down effect. That's going to be a role swaps, changes, Quibs coming in. And again, we've never seen Falcons at that 100% capacity, and that seemingly continues now again. I'm just curious if, with this change coming in and how we did see G2 were very clinical, especially on Cafe, if it's just a little bit too much to ask for Falcons. Now, I rate this team very highly in terms of competition, but they're going against the world champions. G2 are a very clinical team, even with a new player in their ranks as well. Gemini, I think it's going to be a difficult one. I'm saying a 2-1 is my score for this one in favor of G2. I think Falcons should be able to get a map here, but it won't be an easy one.
Yeah, again, Falcons are a very good side. We saw it in Copenhagen. They managed to make it through to phase 2, where, surprise, surprise, the same side that knocked G2 into the lower bracket were the team that sent them packing home. Again, let's not look back too far. This is the Falcon side that caught the imagination of this region last year. They made it to the final of their event. They proved to, you know, thousands of Siege fans around the world that this region deserved the opportunity to play at this level, and they got it. I would say, had Falcons not had that success, it may have changed the way that the whole Siege ecosystem could have even looked this year. But again, really good team. A lot of fans from the home region will be supporting them, but they're taking on a juggernaut. Not only the biggest team in Siege, but one of the biggest teams in the whole esports industry. And not only that, Whippet, two sides that I think will be battling it out for that club's prize at the end, that extra 1.5 million for the most successful esports team at the whole festival.
I think you're right, actually. So, I mean, of course, that's going to be a thing playing, I think, in the very back of every player's mind. I think priority number one, win the game in front of you. I don't think they're going to be thinking too far ahead of their kind of organization's position in the clubs just yet, at least. But to me, it's a stylistic matchup that I think is either going to give us an absolute game full of fireworks or a very one-sided matchup. Either G2 are going to walk to the middle of the ring and decide to stand and bang with Falcons, who are a very aggressive side, or they're going to decide to take the momentum and pace completely out of this matchup and play it safe and try and coast out a victory and use that clock to really pressure Falcons, who are a more aggressive side, who tend to overpeak and tend to make a few little mistakes that can cost them big. That's where I'm thinking this matchup's going to line up.
I think Falcons want to make this a proper brawl. They want to make this a game that's all about gun skill alone. We know already they can go head to head. After all, O'Kills was the winner of the most kills in the tournament last year. Then you've got the likes of Doki and Benja and Alamau on the other side. Not to mention the fountain of youth that is Virtue, who, much like Crying lately, has somehow decided, you know what? Old folks can still do it. I think I'm still a little bit older than them, so I think my days are gone. But they've found a way to go through. But again, you look at certain matchups. The one that I want to see is Doki against O'Kills. Again, I think Doki can go nuclear. He had a bet with his own teammate at SI over who would get the most kills, which he lost to Benja, but Benja was the solution, I suppose, at the end of the day. But when you think about the roles those two players take, I think they're going to bump into each other quite a bit. And whoever wins that battle will give their side a lot of momentum going into this matchup.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be just as much a battle between Doki and Benja. I think they're going to want that spotlight.
Mhm.
That might be one aspect I think that G2, they can tend to feel momentum and play into it too much. And they can be very kind of, you can put a spotlight on them and say they make mistakes when stuff's going their way in matchups. We saw against Amiri, especially on Villa. Doki, G2 have just had two really good rounds, and Doki decides as a zombie to vault out master bedroom or bathroom window and try and get aggressive off that, gets shut down instantly by Spoit. And you feel that they're a team that's susceptible to riding their own momentum into mistakes. Falcons can do that too, but this is why I think stylistically, this is a very intriguing matchup to me. Safe map bans coming up for both sides. Cafe to me is a very clear G2 favorite, but Club in Oregon, that could be a proper 50-50 if Falcons show up.
I think it is going to be 50-50 anyway. I think we're going to get three maps because neither of these sides are going to go down without a fight. When I look at, again, the players that are involved, you've got the bigger names on the side of G2, but these are players on the side of Falcons that are only getting the opportunity to finally build their names in the global side in the last year. You think about the map pool again. So we're going to see Club to kick us off. Clubhouse is a map that we've seen a few times today already, and it's a map that, again, I think will maybe suit G2 that little bit more. The second map in that pool is where I think Falcons have a little bit of an upper hand.
I'm going to correct you. Second map is Club, Gibby.
Second map. I was getting ahead of myself because we're guaranteed to see Club.
You're speed running too far ahead. Cafe is first. That's going to be, I think, after what we saw from G2 against Amiri, that's going to be all locked down for them. Clubhouse, as you said, again, it still favors G2 in my mind. I think they're a side that has very clean executes. It was a very unique side of Clubhouse that we saw with no breach style available. So basically every wall and hatch is open for free against M80. Oregon is the one that excites me the most. If we go to map number 3, Oregon is the great neutralizer. It is the map that great teams can go to die. Falcons, if they show up and play hot, they could knock G2 out if they get to Oregon in that third map. The question is, can they get to that third map?
Is that a statement you think you ever would have said a year ago, that Oregon really excites you? I know that you and I are kind of the exception. A lot of casters are like, oh, it's Oregon again, Boregan, I'm sick of this map. You and I always liked it because it was a fundamentals test. And if you can pass the Oregon test, you're good enough to win on every other map.
I absolutely love Oregon. It's an unpopular opinion, especially with other casters around the UK space, but it's
Mhm.
an ultimate test of what a team has, especially with that map and club as well, are those great litmus tests. Everyone should be able to play Oregon to a reasonably high level, no matter what you're doing, because it's so routine and default. And that's why I feel that there's a good chance that if we do go in map number 3, that upset could be on the cards. But to get there, you need to have that scoreline be level going into it.
Yeah, exactly. And let's get a little bit of feedback from chat now. I want to know who chat thinks is going to win this matchup. Who do you think is going to be the most impressive player, the MVP of this current matchup? I'm going to put the same question to you up at which player on either of these two sides is going to show up big time on the first map?
You're making me think now on the spot for this one. I'm going to say map number 1. I'm going to say Doki for G2. That's going to be the standout player. For Falcons, I'm going to go with Joker 619.
Correction, it's A
Hey,
underscore Joker underscore 619. Get it right.
I'm
If
sorry.
you're going
I'm
to
sorry.
get it right. So I've seen a lot of chats. Some people are saying Doki, Benja. A lot of people feel like G2 are the side that are definitely going to go ahead and take this. My shout, because I think it'd be unfair for me not to give my opinion, I think this is going to be a map where Alamau pops off. I
Ooh,
genuinely
okay.
think he is going to go big on this one. I think as the kind of IGL for his side, it's down to him to set the tone and set the tempo. I think he's going to go big. On the side of Falcons, you know what? I think Quibs is going to have to go into this with a lot to prove. So I'm going to put a bit of pressure on Quibs and say, you're coming in here to place Valentino, who was fantastic at the major. Let's see what he is going to do. Look, we're waiting for the players to get ready. And, it's probably nerves too up it. The players are getting set up. They're getting ready to play. And as we keep pointing out, this could be the very last game at this tournament for one of these sides.
Do you think like maybe I think you know what's probably actually happened is Ian's been walking around with a microphone looking for someone to interview, going, who is it? He's goes, oh, it's Alamo. Let me grab him from an interview, and that's what's going on. So it's Ian has decided to walk away with a player and interview them to get more of that content that you love to see. I've loved the content pieces actually for everyone out there, especially those interviews. Ian, that Jenga interview, I like that one. That's a bit of me.
Ian is one of the best things that has ever happened, Rainbow Six Siege. I love the guy. He's so good at his job. Don't know about the operator Bob that G2 were building during the break, though. An operator that can cut reinforcements on the defensive side. For someone like me who likes to sit and hold angles and bait, yeah, I think that would work. But on the comp side, I don't think so.
You know what? So we have a little bit of time to fill here before we get into action for everyone. So it was actually not that long, actually. But Gibby, if you were to build an operator, like we saw in that content piece before this game, what would you do? Give me the primary weapon of an operator of your choice.
Right.
Quick fire, Gibby. Quick fire.
One speed.
Oh.
One speed, 3 armor, but give them the R4C with a 1.5 on attack.
Okay.
Because I want to go OP as I possibly can. Secondary
one speed. So they're sort of slow.
Yeah, secondary gone 6, and then the utility gadget. You know what I've always wanted to see?
No,
I've
I don't. That's why I'm
always
asking.
wanted to see something like an attacking version of Mira, where you can go up to reinforcements and scan through. An operator where you put the gadget in, it works for 5 or 6 seconds, but it gives you a screenshot of what's going on the other side.
Okay. You know what?
I'm cooking.
I would still pick Bob over this. And what would you name that operator, Gibson?
James. If the operator is going to be Bob for Doki, I'm going to go James. Bob and James, the next 2 operators in Rainbow Six Siege. I've also noticed we've been saying Quibs. Apparently, it's Kotos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Something we love to do is work out the pronunciation of all these teams. Like, there's a lot of, I've been told by chat to get out of the kitchen, stop cooking,
Honestly, I
quick
do
heat
not
read.
trust Gibson's cooking, right? Every single time I've been violently ill because Gibby has decided to go to the kitchen and cook something up. But I tell you what we've got on the menu. We've got G2 versus Falcons, and it's time to jump into this one. Gibby, I'm excited for this matchup as it's time to dive straight into Cafe. Elimination matchup between these sides, and who would have thought G2, the world champions, would be in this position? However, they do tend to have a lower bracket buff, and will that be a factor today?
Well, what happened with it the last time G2 went in a lower bracket run in a tournament with a massive prize pool?
I think let me wind back the months and go. Oh, was it in Montreal where they became the world champions?
I think you're right. I think you're right. So last time we saw G2 in the lower bracket,
Okay.
they went and well, I saw that Alamo wanted $5 million to not ban Ash, and it looks like the deal was not picked up by the side of Falcons. So they did elect to ban Ash. So you're getting rid of Doki again. Obviously, we know how impactful that operator is with the global ability. Valk's been removed on the defensive side. Again, one of the OP operators. Now it's pick your poison time. Do you want to ban Solus and deal with Fenrir? Do you want to ban Fenrir and deal with Mira? Honestly, it's not a choice that I envy whatsoever. And you can tell by the time it took Falcons to make up their mind, it was not an easy one for them either. And on Cafe, they're getting rid of Kaid.
Right. So that's not what I would have done, but I am a caster with a 0.8 KD this season, so I don't think I can talk too much. What I'll say is we saw G2 utilize the mirror windows exceptionally well on their upstairs defenses. Actually, anytime they needed to hold upstairs, they did a really good mirror setup, making basically all of Piano untenable for anyone on the attacking side. That's going to be a very difficult thing to break down for Falcons, and that's on the board. So a mirror ban would have been highly impactful, but you also kind of have that problem. You have a Fenrir, you have a lot to deal with, and look at the lineup G2 have to break down. They have an Azami, a Mira, and a Fenrir. Lots of utility to go through, and Jalad on that Thor, newly crowned with a 1.5.
You know the whole idea of the what is it? The glove. Oh my god, it's left my brain. But basically, they've picked the 5 most OP operators that were left. You know, I don't think they could have picked a more.
I'm sorry, I want to go back.
Matchup.
What glove are you talking about?
5 seconds.
The one, you know the film. He clicks his fingers. And everyone vanishes the dust, just like the viewership right now, listening to us trying to work out what it was called again.
It's been a long day. I know that, but I think I might have to wheel you back home at this point. Not sure what.
I'm old, okay? I'm old. I'm old. My mind goes wandering.
Just like you, late at night.
But look, I'm not the oldest caster. You know, there's always that. There's always that.
It's a close fight between you and him, I believe, isn't it?
There's nearly a decade between me and Smith. Come on. Anyways, G2 currently on attack here on Cafe. They're going through their list by leaving that side of the wall soft. It makes the hatch drop a little bit more difficult for the player playing by Piano. I know you used to play in a strat similar, but Benja with Nook will just sneak up white stairs and gets the opening. Now Benja can play that mirror and watch it the other way. Nobody's going to push from Cocktail just yet, so they're going to give him freedom of this side of the map, because again, they're trying to go down. That nade will be delivered into the bathroom. Alamo will catch the players they tried to run on out, so good teamwork coming through from G2. They've got themselves a 4 versus 3. The vertical control secured, but there is 2 players on white. Make it was Virtue playing outside on top of the AC, is able to find another one.
Diffuser has been dropped.
Whoa, P9 will find one, the Gemini, and that's going to be a huge pick. That gives Falcons a chance at a second one as well. Looks up the hatch and finds Benja. Huge opening, a huge trade of kills. I know, a minute 20 to work. Lots of change in a triple for P9. The D-More has G2's number and a 4K for Falcons. Take away the Ash. They don't care. They need a DMR. And the opening round goes to Falcons.
And forcing Alamo in particular to have a drink of nondescript cup of something to get himself going.
I believe that was a Gamers8 branded beverage, I believe, so.
Yeah, probably warm too.
when we say it's gamer, it's I can't even,
You can tell we're not. You can tell we're not allowed to mention brands here, can't you?
No,
But look,
we don't work on a branding team, so I can't even think of a creative name involving Gamers8 for it. But it's
we've been on broadcast too long, mate. We've gone. Anyways, G2 lose the first round on attack on Cafe. No surprises there whatsoever. But it was a really good bounce back from P9. When you think about it, G2 did everything really well in the top floor. They cleared it. Benja got in the building, got control of the cocktail side, used the nade to clear the player in the bathroom, funneled him towards Alamau, who was able to get the kill. But even with Virtue playing outside and holding white stairs, P9 was able to battle back from below on the unfavorable angle. At the end of the day, you'd always rather be on the top floor looking down than the bottom floor looking up, but P9 still wins those.
that was confidence that would take those engagements. And remember when we were talking about this before we got into it? And I thank you, chat. I actually like Gamers Hydrate. There we go.
I like that too.
Thank you, chat, for that one. See, this is smarter than us half the time, to be honest. But for G2, I talked about how they were going to be effective on the offense, and that's where they need to find the success. Well, if we have players like P9 continue to pop up and cause problems in terms of mechanics and winning fights, G2 might not have as easy a time as they would have liked.
No, they definitely won't. So now Kodos is playing over by VIP. Doki with the glass is able to find a kill looking through that wedding window, but still a player remains in position. P9's going to get aggressive though. He's got the confidence and he's got the aim. Down goes Doki, and the smoke blooms just a little bit too late for Glaz's utility to have an impact. So, Mute's still in position. Still utility being pushed on through, but still the player in bakery P9 causing a lot of trouble for G2, and Virtue is just a little bit too late, and well, he is a little bit too late as P9's able to find another one. Someone stop this man. 6-0.
This is a problem. Do not let this player show up, because I don't think G2 can do too much to contain him at this point. And the SMG-11, a potent weapon in his skillful hands. And P9 controlling the tempo of this one. The next player to step up to the gauntlet is outside of bakery. That's Suryana. That's Alamau. How will this fight go against P9? He's just waiting, patient, holding on, doesn't need to overextend, doesn't need to show his hand. Delicate game of chess. Who will peak first? You'll hear that Gemini going off, and that's going to be Kotos to find one of the Gemini. A rotation, and P9 doesn't want to stay too much longer, falls back inside of sight, and a wise choice.
Yeah, Benja still hasn't got inside the building with Nook just yet either, and two defenders in place to hold him. Make it three. You've got one in VIP, one on the stairs, and one playing close to red as well. Benja does eventually get in, and he's going to get some support from Alamo. He's going to get a free kill here onto the Fenrir. Down goes a Joker 619. And they've taken control now of Whiskey and Reception. But that is still not sight. That's still not objective. Alamo is going to get into another gunfight here. Takes a lot of lead while Benja is in another gunfight. O-Kills finds one. There's P9 down, but P9 will not fall. O-Kills gets the kill. And Falcons take a 2-0 lead.
Last year at Gamers8, we were curious to see how Falcons would play. We had never seen a team from MENA engage, and we were told one thing by a good friend of ours and then analyst at the desk, Tristan, the coach of Koi, said these players are legit. They are scary and some of the best mechanical players you've ever seen. Right now is the prime example of that. G2 structurally may be better, but they cannot win their ones. You have a player like P9 who seems to be unstoppable, yet to be slain, and when everyone like O-Kills is able to fire off and have an impact in a round, G2 are in a world of hurt. That's what Falcons need to do. Keep on the pressure. Do not slow down and stay relentless with this pressure. Because G2, you can't win a gunfight. You can't win a round.
Exactly. You could have said it better myself. Round 3. Vertical is being set up by Falcons again whenever you... So my brain just left a second, but you know that setup that we see with the mirror, you're going to play over by the pallet side, you look in through freezer, you open up the head holes all the way into piano. Now with Azami being able to play in position as well between the piano and that mini bar, it means that you've got to cover on two sides. So if the player steps up to try to take on Azami, the player on the mirror should be able to stop. Best way to deal with that, Mira, is usually to put some pressure from Cocktail side, use some nades and try to force them out of position. But G2, they look like they're cooking something a little bit different. Benja is going to drone out red stairs, and don't be surprised if we see him creeping in through red, pushing towards pillars and trying to take down some of those players that are playing on site.
Question I have for you, Gibby. Do G2 try something different? Do they maintain this? Do they fight fire with fire and try and go aggressive? Or do they slow this down and try to bait mistakes from Falcons? Again, a team that, you know, they've been together for a while playing domestically. They've just had their very first Tier 1 league introduced, and they might be a little bit more green. But that's going to be the opening pick. Falcons find that once again, Alamau is first to go. You lose that Yana, you lose one set of your nades. That's a problem for G2.
Yeah, Benja, here's the player in the corner as well, but the nade's going to come through. Solace will begin to peak, but with your gadget out, Benja will win that 10 times out of 10. But it's down to him and Doki, the 1-2 punch that's been so successful for G2 in the past. But Falcons, Jalon, Kotos, and a Joker 619 in position, chasing the kills. They've got the fear going off, and that's a freebie for Jalad. But there's Benja to trade that one back, but it is a tough task. Kotos and Joker. Benja, though, if there's one thing he has in abundance, it's talent. And if he's something he's got plenty of, it is time.
A minute 10 and change to work with. He has that Nook. Now remember, latest patch of the game, Nook's no longer silent when in that hell suppression system. So he's still audible even when his gadget is only for observation. And look at the Fenrir choking him out and relaying exactly what his intentions are. He'll creep and shoulder bait to try and find some shots towards him inside a piano, but nothing presents itself solidly. He'll creep and crawl his way all the way down long bar, trying to find a flank. But will this be successful? I think he's got a good amount of information. He's going to bait a plant. C4 ripped and ready. He's very exposed, but do Falcons know? I don't think they do. Benja pops up, but can't find it! Shut down! And it's a 3-0 sweep for Falcons!
Color me impressed. I am so impressed by the way Falcons have started off in these first few rounds. They're taking on G2 right up close and personal and winning their ones. Benja got the case down, but it was in a pretty difficult position for him to try to hold his spot, and G2 lose another round. I'm impressed. Do you know what else I was impressed by with? But actually, I'm segueing here for a second.
Go on then, segue away.
Gunnar from Sonics was impressed by the way you were speaking about Spoit, and he wanted to know, would you ever speak about Gunnar the way that you speak about Spoit? Gunnar, this is from me. Gunnar, you're the GOAT.
If I'm ever on the mic for a Sonics game, Gunnar, you will be the greatest player to have ever picked up a mouse and played Rainbow Six Siege. Simple as. However, you're not a Gamers8, so I can't say it this weekend.
I hope that makes him happy. I hope that's what he wanted to hear. We always want to make players feel happy because, of course, the players are the main characters whenever we get shows like this. So we're waiting to get stuck into this next game. Again, let's play the body language game once more. The players from Falcons, they look focused. Not really, too excited looking, not really looking distracted. And on the side of G2, they're 3-0 down, but they look very, very relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, G2, again, veterans of the space. They have been playing the game for a very, 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 very long time. They're not going to be stressed yet. It's a best of 3. There's no need to panic. There's no need to make drastic decisions yet. But for G2, they need to start getting rounds on the board right here, right now. You cannot let this momentum continue to build for Falcons. The timeout, a great decision to try and correct these mistakes. But ultimately, Falcons in their movement, gunplay, and coordination have basically swarmed G2 like a hive of bees and just attack them at all angles and relentlessly. Can they find a way to slow that down, get themselves into the match?
That's the question that's going to be asked. G2 now hoping to win one of those tertiary sites. Jalad getting very aggressive, trying to get not necessarily a spawn peak, but catch one of those G2 players cold when they're pushing their way in. Benja's going to make his way up onto that cocktail window, has a little peek, realizes that there's a long line of sight, changes his mind. But again, we're looking at where G2 are trying to apply pressure, right? They're putting pressure on the top floor. They're going to use Flores in tandem with... Well, please don't use the Flores to open the hatch, whatever.
No.
Good. Flores.
Okay,
good.
I was beginning to get a little bit worried, but the Flores drone goes all the way in. No, okay, it did. It did.
Yes.
That was a big build up for that one. I was like, wait a minute, what was that sound? That was Alamo's first to fall again. C4 lobbed, and we will lose a Brazilian player on the side of G2. The Flores drone will force Joker to move out of positions that detonates off the distance. But G2, once again, suffer the opening blow. Benja gets it back towards O-Kills, but once again, the narrative of this round is Alamos died early, you've lost your Yana, the tip of the spear has been dulled, and 2 nades are gone. Massive blow in terms of utility and firepower for G2.
Yeah, Jalad is just doing a great job of being a problem for G2. Now,
I don't know if Gibson has vanished or not. I've lost him in my ears. Oh, you're stuck with me now. I'm unfortunate for that. Oh, Gibson's back. Oh no. I thought I was giving him a moment. Execution seems to arrive. Virtue will fire one the Joker, and a 3 versus 3 to ensue. Jalad is going to try and get scrappy with it on Falcony and does so. And P9 will find 2 with the DMR. Falcons find round number 4 and make it 4 in a row. Yibby, it disappeared from me for a moment.
here's what happened. I stepped into an FNAT and the fear got me, and everything on my screen disappeared for a moment. But we're back. It's okay. Whippet's not alone. I know that Whippet, you get a little bit worried sometimes when you're left unattended for too long, but I'm here. You'll be fine.
What? Okay, fair enough. Whatever you say. Yeah, that's me. That's me. So, Falcons, 4 rounds in a row against G2. I'm not gonna lie. I was not expecting this level of domination from Falcons. I know how good these 5 players are on this side. I know how good Falcons can be on their day. But I was not expecting this level of dominance. And it has been a joy to watch. G2, there's been no answer yet. The aggression, the coordination from Falcons has been too much. You have the firepower, you have Doki, you have Benja, but it just hasn't lined up. And a change of strategy now for G2. They brought out the Monty, and this might find, and that might be the key to success. With the amount of utility with like these Fenris and the Samis to deal with, it will be a very difficult round, even with the shield ahead of them.
Well, a lot of players and fans went into this wondering, you know, what was happening. Falcons last-minute substitution. Koto's coming for Valentino. He's going 5-1. P9, the main character so far, though. But finally, G2 managed to find the opening pick. Down goes O-Kills. And now G2 can play the way that they were meant to. They're a team that play really well whenever they've got numbers advantage. And now this is where G2, I really think that they're playing the meta well. They've brought Monty this time around. One of the only teams outside of Brazil and CAG that use Monty the right way. So look, what they're doing is forcing players back and getting kills. Gemini is able to get that one, but now Jalad is going on the flank. Information feeded. A Joker 619 playing way offside as well. This should be a cut and dry round win for G2.
A great change up from G2. The Monty causes them a lot of problems for Falcons, and the plant goes down. Advantage sits in the 5 versus 2 as well, and with the Monty bearing down in the post plant, it's basically a 1 round for G2. However, I have a bit of a power putting on a caster curse, but that doesn't last long as G2 break the streak of Falcons with a flawless round. They needed that so much, and that could be enough to lift their spirits and get them back into this matchup. But Falcons, it has been a crazy performance so far from them, and a 4-1 advantage is still mega.
And I want you to, if you can, watch that game back as a fan and see this is a great way to attack this site. So what G2 did was they got a player on wedding window. They got a little bit of pressure over by the cocktail or whiskey side of the map by reception, which meant that any players playing around, playing around whiskey, any players playing by coat check, they couldn't be comfortable. By them putting a player on wedding window, it meant that the player playing in that section of the map, their only option was to go back up red stairs or back to site. Then you use Monty in tandem with a player pushing in through bakery door to force the player who's playing in bakery into an unwinnable position, because 9 times out of 10 there's not going to be anybody close enough to play the trade game for that player. That is a very good way to set up to do that attack. And again, it's something that Liquid, G2, W7M, and I'd even argue NIP whenever they're on their day do very well.
Agreed. I'm enamored right now by this matchup, Gibby. Right? I've got a massive smile on my face. Not only I cheer for underdogs, I support G2 inside of Europe. I'm still cheering for Falcons in this one. 4-1 scoreline, domination, aggression, high tempo siege, everything I love to see. And early fights happening already as O'Kills takes a beating from the DMR outside. Actually, no, that's going to be Yana who finds those shots down from mining. Great opening for G2. Couldn't convert that to a kill, but an investment to later on as that Solace is now wounded for the rest of the round.
Yeah, and now the question is, can Solace just keep your head out of trouble for a while? Use your utility, try to slow down the tack, keep the numbers game level, or even better, find that opening pick. Now, again, it looks like G2 are going to face up the strongest area of this Falcons defense, and that is the 2-man hole that's inside Piano. Benja misses the opportunity to get the kill, and he misses it a second time as the siege timing is going to be his worst enemy. But another Falcon falls, and another Falcon still on low HP. Look at this now, P9, Joker, and O'Kills in a 5 versus 3. But I expect that G2 will attempt at some point get a player over to get the res. But I love the fact that Falcons are holding and Joker's able to find the kill.
No res. Player on cocktail window very narrowly misses the opportunity to get a freebie onto the Latwamai. Not given its opportunity just yet. Falcons do trail by 1 player, 4 versus 3. A minute and change for G2 to begin the work this execution. But remember, Falcons are pretty fearless. It doesn't really matter if you have the advantage or not. They're confident enough to take those fights. And both players of G2 that don't have the case, they're all on rappel outside a cocktail window or on rappels. One member alone, Gemini, holds that case at top red. If he goes down to a potential flank, that could be a disaster. And no, there's no way, there's no drone here watching for P9. Give it an absolute freebie. G2 need a flank for that one. Now Alamau falls. Benja repels in. He'll drop prone and hide. Just waiting for that chance.
Yeah, I think we may have just lost the feed for just a moment. But yeah, there we go. We don't know what happened in that one. And there's no fist bumps from the players either, so I'm assuming they might have timed out as well.
I believe we've had a server crash. That would be my prediction with that one. So unfortunate. That was a tense round for that one. You got to feel for both teams in that. That was a proper 50-50 after that. But Gibby, take a moment to now breathe and relax and reset. We've seen a high tempo game of Siege. Do you think that's going to be continuable? Do you think Falcons have the stamina for a best of 3 to keep that pace going, especially if this map goes their way?
We know they do. Think back to Gamers8 last year where they made it all the way to the final, and that game against Wild where it went all the way on that final map of Villa. They've shown that they've got the stamina to play a long day and play it through to completion. G2, we know the exact same story from them, but I think the big thing that Falcons need to do is play their game, right? A lot of players might get enamored or worried by the fact that they're playing against G2. That name carries weight in esports, right? Falcons need to just focus on playing their game and finding a way to just keep chipping away. When you've got the lead that they have already, a 4-1 lead on defense, if you can win 1 round now for every 2 that G2 do, you're doing pretty well. So if you keep the old school 4-2 split the other way, they'll go ahead and take this win.
Okay. I'm looking at this. I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to look at the body language of all the players going on right now. So it's not a pleasant time after a round like that to go into a tech pause. They seem to be already in reset, sort of getting ready again, posturing up for this. G2 look pretty well composed, pretty well relaxed. They don't seem nervous, even though the deficit is so large. Falcons, a little bit more unsettled, actually. I think they're beginning to feel the levity of the position that they're in.
hmm I think so, but again, they've rushed into an early lead. They've shown that they can go head to head when it comes to straight up gunfights. Keep the positivity rolling. You know what I'd like to talk about?
I don't know.
You know the way- you know the way last time-
It could be Siege or it could be the weather. I don't.
Anything. Do you remember last year when BDS started playing Shaiko sitting in the middle? And it was at Gamers8,
Yes.
I think, was the first time that they did it. And the reason that they did was so that Shaiko can look in the two monitors either side and essentially drone himself at times without actually having to use a drone. I'm looking at Doki's positioning for G2 between Benja and Alamo. Those three on that side of the table are the three that you would expect to be your round winners, right? Doki really needs to play off of those two around him and get some momentum going because, again, I think he is one of the best players that we have in Siege right now when he is on it. But I just don't think that we've seen Doki today at all. And, you know, as a fan of Siege, you want to see Doki playing to the best of his ability because he is one of the best players in the world right now.
I agree. I mean, all you have to think about is that, you know, obviously we look back to the best form G2 have been in a very long time, which is going to be the Invitational back in February. Doki was one of the players that was so close to being the highest kill player at that event, has consistently been high impact for G2. And he's not had the showing, as you said, that we would have expected so far. But first day of the competition, so it's not too scary yet, I would say.
Not yet. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of people talking about the Gemini pick as well. We're fans of Gemini going to G2, right? We know what he done on Makers. Very good player. But again, chemistry for 99 out of 100 roster moves, chemistry is not instant. It takes time to build it. Gemini is going from playing on a team where, as far as I know, in Makers, they communicated inside or in Italian for a long time, right? He's one of the players that you and I said on that Makers roster that was good enough to play at this level, the tier 1 level. And it's going to take time for him to fill in. Again, he's a very different player from Blur. We've given Blur his flowers earlier. We said Blur was really good at what he does, but G2 want to go into an area where essentially even the players that play soft support have the gun skill to go ahead and, you know, win their ones and clutch their 1vx's. Gemini has that, but it's not going to come on this G2 roster at the very first event. It's going to take time. O'Kills will step on out, get rid of a couple of cams. Look, that's great. Job done. But again,
That's
my point is
4 cams destroyed, Gibby, by the way.
4 or 5. But my point is, I think that if G2 get the win today and play into tomorrow and get to the next round, Gemini will get better and G2 will get better at every stage they go through.
I think you've put it the most mature I've heard someone actually word that so far. I agree exactly with you. I think I would have put it, let him cook. Would have been how I would have described it. But I think you've done it in a more elegant, more sophisticated fashion. Flores drones detonating as well to try and clear some space for G2. Get themselves that utility clear for basically free. Though my might will catch one nade and force his army out of position, so I ticket as the keeper barrier is deployed to help add that extra bit of cover as P9 will find the opening as Alama once again finds himself on the receiving end of that opening death. Not the start that Alama would have wanted so far.
Yeah, I think, is that... I know we've lost the stats, but I think that's P9's 9th or 10th kill as well in 5 rounds. He is having himself a game so far for Falcons. And the big thing for Falcons is the opening pick. They've got it nearly every single round so far. And G2, the way that they play, is built for playing either level with numbers or having a man advantage. So they need to find a way to get this kill back. Benja almost does get it playing the vert, but when he's unable to find it, he's going to get back on the move again. And Kodos is going to make the problem a little bit worse, compounding misery as he finds the kill on the Virtue as well. 5 versus 3.
Gemini looks to get one back and does so, but Jalad finds an instantaneous trade on the Benja. They lose that knock, they lose that firepower, but Doki's DMR fires away and finds kills, but Jalad from distance finds a second. Gemini, the latest edition, all alone. To find one. this gives a lifeline. If you can isolate these fights, it's certainly winnable. The case is cold. The likelihood that you can recover that is very, very slim. So looking to play this around the rifle, looking to find the kills to get the job done. But that mirror window precedes such a problem. They have all the information. They'll know he'll likely push on right, and they can react accordingly. Gemini might be walking into the final few moments of this round, and P9 with a perfect pre-fire. Falcons back on the horse.
Yeah, that's another really good round by Falcons. Good decision making at every single level, and they managed to clutch out another round. Look, this is what you expect from Falcons. We wanted them to make this game a gunfight, but there's more to it than that. By saying they're just really good with their, with their weapons would be, I think you'd be selling them pretty short. They've got a clear plan on defense. It's get aggressive in the first minute. Don't give G2 easy access to the building. After that first minute is up, they drop back just a little bit, which puts G2 off tempo a little bit more. And then in the last minute again, they turn up the tempo. They're not letting G2 settle into their game. They're upsetting the rhythm. They're impacting their ability to enter the building. And that is a pretty good plan that they have for playing against G2.
Those opening engagements is what really stands out to me for the side of Falcons. Now, we love to talk about how basically the opening engagement can be one of the most critical fights around it. It lets you get into the map. Typically, that's how that fight happens. It's the roamer that tries to extend, you get that fight off and get map control. But Falcons are so aggressive with it. G2 basically were cautious and a little bit concerned about their entry, and they can never get it clean. Alamau ran into the opening engagement 3 or 4 times and tended to lose it more often than not. For Falcons, the question now is when you're on the offense and you need to make things happen and you need to go towards your enemies, are you going to be able to do that and bring that same tempo, pace, and aggression on this side for G2? I'd imagine they want to slow this down a little bit and catch a little bit of a breather and begin to claw back at this game.
Yeah, now's where the real question is posed to Falcons. You've done more than enough on defense to win this game, but can you do the business on attack? And historically, I think G2 are a team that I prefer watching on defense because now they can play their game. They're the ones that are going to attempt to disrupt the pace. Now, again, look at the positions. Gemini is playing below the hatch for that drop with the Wamai. The longer he stays there, the more of those discs that he can throw out to prevent the push. You've got everyone else from G2 a little bit further away. Now, if they identify that, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of pressure put on that hatch drop because G2 want them to come from red, but Virtue is going to find the kill on the Joker. And again, opening pick has been pretty decisive in this game so far, Whippet.
Yeah, it has been, and it's a huge one that Virtue finds it. P9 was an absolute demon on that weapon, on that DMR in the defense. Now Virtue starts off with the Aruni DMR. Tries to find that I've got that opening with it. For G2, slowing the pace down. Falcons a little bit slower this time. Shalad with not many options might have to tank this damage. Has a flashbang. Doesn't want to give away that position. Wants to act a little bit quicker for it. And just a game of patience. Rotation now, or Heaven Window Repel, looking for perhaps an overextended G2 member, and that's what Virtue will do. Gives a freebie away, and that's going to be a run out. Oh my. Alamo gets caught out and shut down. G2's advantage fades, but Gemini claws it back. Smokes spent out, and that's going to give Glaz an opportunity to drop and use that thermal. But anyone be daring enough to peek it? Well, Benja doesn't need to peek. He sideswipes and finds P9. Leave it all down to Flores, and that's D4 nearly a perfect delivery. But the round all but one jump out from Heaven should wrap this up. 30 seconds, Gibby. Think there's a way for Falcons to win this round? I think Gibby has disappeared once again, everybody. So I'll jump back in for this one. So 3 versus 1. It's going to be an ascent of the main stairs. Nope, it's going to be a rotation all the way to Brown. I have a feeling that this round, well, I think it's pretty safe to say this round is over. And I think Gibby, he's going to be able to jump back. Hello, Gibby, you back?
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm not sure what's happening, but Falcons...
I think I've lost Gibby again. He's gone again. Gibby, I know you don't want to... Gibby, he sees Falcons lose a round, and he's like, oh no, he doesn't want to even see it. G2 get one claw back for them, and a very good job indeed. Flurry of kills and aggression, matching the tempo. of Falcons. Very well played from them. Can G2 begin to claw this one back? Because I think I've got word that maybe my co-caster is back again. Gibby, are you there? Nope. Nope. Still isn't here, unfortunately, for this one. So we continue alone into this one. I can see chat, by the way, all of you guys, and I see that Gibby is being hacked by Fabian, unfortunately. Not allowed to get into this one to watch the action unfold ahead of him.
Don't know for how long, okay? Let's see.
Hello.
We'll see what happens this time. And look, I know the chat are pretty happy that I'm gone. I know that they're disappointed. They were enjoying their intimate time when it was just you and them.
Me and chat had a
I'm
great
back.
conversation about you, Gibby. It was great. Me and chat were able to sit down and nice, relaxing conversation about this matchup. Falcons 5-2 lead on G2. Tremendous stuff, really.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Well, look, I think that's where you excel. Put you in a room with thousands of people to just listen to you. That's your domain.
Oh.
You know?
I want to let you go and ramble away. I had to talk too much. They're bored of me. They get you now for a couple of seconds.
Oh, you want me to talk a little bit? Well, G2.
It's more to see if you don't make sure you stay and don't disappear to the Shadow Realm again. So off you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so G2 now, 3 rounds down against Falcons. Falcons, of course, with that really impressive defensive half. G2 starting theirs the right way. As we move now into round 8, though, this is the pivotal round. Now, you've always said, and
he's gone again! Woo! So, he'll miss John finding the opening pick on the Virtue. An impact toss out to find some damage, though. Kills, not enough to write home about, but he'll be able to find that. Oh, poor Gibby. Poor Gibby doesn't get to watch all this action. Chat, you are my only companion now for this action. Time to get into this one. O-Kills will find 1 now. Alamau's next to go, and G2 really beginning to feel that pressure. 5 versus 3. Double repel on those windows. They've yet to find a significant way to get an entry point, I should say. And he goes out. No, siege timing. Perfect rotation from Benjamaster, but he's gonna be lucky holding on. He's very, very lucky to stay alive in that position. Minute 30. Smoke grades going out, beginning to think about that potential execution. And G2 still have a very slim and thin hold upstairs. Not really much way to go with. Benja, light stairs, critical position to hold on to. His Kiba still in pocket to work with as well. Just feeling the G2 will let the time do a lot of talking, compress Falcons down, make them begin to solve this puzzle. ARX fires off in the hands of Jalad. At 1.5 to fight this from a bit of extra range. Difficult engagement, nearly finds one through the wall. Gemini in a must-win position. You cannot lose this fight and lose control of sight. Decides to retreat, stay in the fight to live another day. Asian drone spots it. More engagements happening around the map. Falcons posture, getting ready, not aware of the presence of Dope upstairs. And this could be a problem. Jalad finds one on the Benja, and now Falcons have all the control they need, leaving it just down the Doki alone upstairs. And I think they've got a perfect read, they do! Shut him down, and Falcons get themselves onto map point here on Cafe, and I said, honestly, in our pre-show that I thought this map would favor G2 heavily. We saw how effective they were against M80, and now, well, against Falcons, it's a whole different beast. G2 struggling a little bit at this point, and, well, do they have a comeback on? I mean, I don't have Gibby anymore. I disappeared, so chat, I'll ask this to you. Do you believe G2 have any chance of a comeback, or are you all believing it is Falcons' time to get a map advantage against the reigning world champions? Seeing a lot of confidence in Falcons, some believers of G2 as well. Match point, a map point here for Falcons. Can they get the job done? Can they topple the world champions in the opening map of this series? Remember, stakes on the line. This is an elimination match for these two teams. The loser of this series goes home. Their time in Riyadh will be over early. No one wants that. great competition, great amenities, and of course a lovely prize pool for the victor of this one. Who can survive the night? And I think maybe, just maybe, Gibson might be back.
We solved it. We were having
He's
some.
back! He's
Eh,
back! Oh!
we might have solved it. Question might have been resolved, but that's the joys of being remote, I guess. But look, we're back in the mix, and I was looking at chat while we were trying to get back in. We see you. We love you. We hope you're doing good. So, 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. This is match point now for Falcons. They're about to make a huge statement if they can take this round. But the big thing about it is the performance, right? We talk about this all the time. You can win a game ugly, you can win a game well. They're winning this one beautifully, and O'Kills gets the opener once more.
Wow. Wow, Gibby. Falcons opening engagement again. Great success from them. Alamau again on the receiving end. Post the rehost. It's not been the desirable round that Alamau would have wanted. And now Falcons advantage gained again. There, have I left me? Gibby left me alone again.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm listening to you.
I was so worried. I was like, oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's still here. Oh, fuck you.
I was letting you talk. You were having a moment there. Speaking about having a moment, though, Falcons are having their moment now as they lead the world champions 6-2. It's something that it doesn't get old the more I say it. They're playing so well. They've got vertical control established. They've still got 2 nades in the back pocket of Joker, so he can try to maybe clear out sight. But as you see, all of this side is empty, and it will be until you clear Bakery. And Bakery could be a bit of a problem. So Benja will play there in between Wedding and Bakery, and no pressure from the side of the map whatsoever. But it does look like they might start pressuring through that main kitchen double door if they go down red. But that's a big pick from Benja.
That's what G2 need. Need a way back into this round, and Benja, well, he's provided once again. P9 holds the case on red stairs in a very difficult position. Do you engage Benja, or do you wait for your teammate to get ready? And oh my, he went for the fight, and Benja was just ready, quicker on the draw. And this could be the round G2 needed to get themselves re-energized and back into that nade. So close, does a lot of damage to Benja. The latest Danish sensation tries to have more of an impact with 13 seconds left to go. The round's all but one. Can they flush him out? Eventually they do, but time is the ultimate enemy. There's no way they can stick a plant in this limited time. Surely not! Are you kidding me, Falcons? The dying embers of this, and G2 begin the waiver. Gemini alone to keep G2 alive on Cafe, and O'Kill shuts him down. Falcons have toppled the champions on Cafe. They lead the series 1-0. What a performance.
Well, they are playing in Falcons' backyard here at Gamers8, and they are starting to show them the exit gate. One map away now are Falcons from sending G2 home. So impressed by the way that they were able to play on that one. So impressed that I'm back as well. But Whippet, this is what Siege is all about.
That last round, Gibby. That last round. You have to push in a very difficult site to break down with 10 seconds. It was 8 seconds left when that vault in the kitchen happened. They find 2 picks out of nowhere, and they get the job done. And we got some highlights for that one, but what a performance it was from the side of Falcons. We can run some highlights and look at all this action. It was a game of Siege I love to cast and love to watch. Action absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, again, it's Falcons who are so good in their individual one-on-one matchups. And one of the things that the really good teams do is find a way to win the opening engagement, to get the numbers in your favor and then play off of that. Falcons did that so well on that map. What it felt like out of all the rounds we played, maybe 3 total, G2 got the opening pick. Every other time it was Falcons. Once you get that opening pick, it is your round to lose from that point. You can play your game. You can use all of your utility. You can drone in safety. And that is the blueprint. If Falcons want to win on Clubhouse, they need to do the exact same thing.
Well, that won't be easy though. That will not
Mhm.
be easy at all. And the big thing I want to talk about is the fact that you got to feel a little bit bad for Alamau. Every single time there's an opening engagement, 9 times out of 10, it was him that was first to fall. That's going to be a question of mental reset for G2. We've seen them face adversity before, but remember, as I laid down the storyline before, loser of this series goes home. Today's the
Mhm.
opening day of Gamers8. No one wants to be knocked out at this stage, but alas, that map is done. Cafe's in the history books. It's time to look forward to our next map of Clubhouse. We'll be ready with that one after a quick
Mhm.
little break.
best friend. And up in here, I know the story ends with broken hearts and us playing pretend. Break me down, down. Break me down. Break me down, down. Break me down. Break me down and make me weak again. After all, I called you my best friend.
Welcome back, everyone, to Gamers8. Falcons, the hometown heroes, leading G2 in this best of three, at which the losers will be packing their bags and going home with a measly $75,000. The winners, of course, move on in the lower bracket and guarantee themselves $125K and a chance to make it through to the semi-finals from there. Though to get there, G2 need to win 2 maps in a row from this point. Falcons, one more will do the trick. But whip it. If the first map is anything to go by, G2 need to wake up because Falcons have come to play.
Falcons were fantastic on the opening map, and it was a perfect demonstration of why they're such a good team. You know, people are always question Falcons, and sometimes I think people are a little bit hesitant to give this new team that's kind of shot into the limelight their roses. They are aggressive, tactful, and they are purposeful of every single thing they do. G2 on those opening engagements were, well, struggling to find a way in every single time. Alamau, basically the first to fall every single time when he was attacking that map, and they ran away with it. They ran riot on Cafe. The question now, as we move to Clubhouse, is that going to change the tempo? It's a way more default map. It's way more well understood. We've seen G2 play it already today. We also saw them play Cafe. Can Falcons provide an answer to that? And can they beat the world champions and knock them out on day one? What a storyline that would be for them.
Especially if it finishes 2-0. Like, if Falcons beat G2 2-0, that to me will be the biggest scalp that they've ever taken. You know, we looked at them last year. They got all the way to the final of this event. And if you watched the event last year, yes, they lost to BDS, but I think, was it 7-5, 7-5, 7-5, something like that? Every single map went right down to the wire. So again, we know this is a team that can go head to head with the best teams in Europe. And again, they looked great in the major as well. So again, I think people don't, because they're new, you know, because they're realistically a new team to the global audience, people don't put the respect on them that I think that they deserve. And again, they are showing why MENA has been invited to take part in the global ecosystem. And they've done a great job against G2. But the next map is Clubhouse. We're going to jump into the action, and it's as simple as this. G2 need to win or they're going home.
It's as simple as that. G2, all the pressure is on them. Can they get the job done? Dokkaebi banned away. Next is the Maverick. G2 following exactly what they done against M80 earlier on. I doubt we'll see a Bandit getting brought out this time around, as that was led to a wild matchup. But Kaid's next to go, leaving Falcons down to that pick your poison aspect. What defender do you ban away? And what of those 4 very powerful operators do you keep in play for this matchup? And they're going to have a little bit of deliberation going on. That timer didn't jump down to 3 seconds instantly. They're waiting. They're trying to figure out what will be this ban. Drumroll, please, Gibby. It's the mirror.
So glad it wasn't a Bandit again. I'm so glad we weren't going to see Clubhouse again, where we saw Kaid and Bandit removed from play. So round 1, G2 are on attack. Now, is that a good thing? I'm not so sure because Falcons ran right through G2 last time they tried to attack. They took a 5-1 half. But again, this is their pick. This is their opportunity now to
Attackers need to
change their
locate and
own
defuse the
fortunes.
bomb.
Straight off the bat, Falcons are going to go down into basement. The defensive lineup, Mozzie, Azami, Fenrir, Mute, and Malusi. Malusi doesn't get as much play as she used to with it, but again, you put those gadgets in the right place. For example, near the entrance to Dirt, down at the bottom of Blue, pushing towards Generator, it can still have a big impact. But I think as an operator, she has changed how she has played.
I mean, most of that's down to that reduced mobility. Of course, Malusi's not as fast as she used to be, so that flexibility, that action of a roamer has kind of gone away from her, and she's very much kind of more focused on playing close to those boundaries that have a huge impact. And when you have operators like Fenrir combined with Malusi, G2 are in for a very difficult and I think a very frustrating time. But one thing I'll draw your attention to is the amount of roam pressure that Falcons are applying right now. A very extensive hold, rotations all around that top floor. I think their idea is they want to hold on to this best they can and make G2 fight and bleed for every inch of this map.
This is what I love about Fenrir too. You can use some of your gadgets on site. Jalad tries to get aggressive over towards Chains, but doesn't manage to get that fight. But my point is, you can use some of those fear mines on site, use the rest of them on the roam, and change where they are and which ones are active as the round goes on. So G2, they're going to go for your standard clear from the top floor and work their way down. Once we hit that magic number, which is maybe a minute and 10 seconds, we'll see Falcons drop back towards site. And in fact, it looks like they've already done that, but they do look like they're starting to put more pressure on. But Doki get the opening pick.
That's what G2 need. They need to find that opening way more often, way more consistently, and a good start so far. As Jalad's first to go, and again, that's a very early pick to find. There's still around a minute 50 left, and Benja gets himself traded back. You lose that fragging availability and the vertical potential of that buck, and that's down to that extended roam presence of Joker 619. And upstairs, he surely knows someone's tantalizingly close. It's Doki lurking top main by pipes. And an extra fear mine to give himself that reassurance. And you get to see that bright mechanic. He juggles what activation code is deployed where, and he's bought himself a safety net. He doesn't need to watch that doorway. He needs to watch construction, and that's it.
That's what we were speaking about as well. Doki tries to get him through the wall, but Joker's able to fall back towards construction. The fear mines will go off. Almo takes a bit of damage, but Joker's doing an incredible job. Not picking up kills here, but just eating up a lot of time in that last 30 seconds. Virtue will wait for him to retreat back to site, but he's a little bit pressed by the fact that I think P9 was still playing. Joker does eventually make it back, but that was excellent time denial there from Falcons as they all make their way back.
Well, they might have suffered the opening death. They've done a great job finding a trade and delaying and dragging out the clock for G2. Meaning with 30 seconds and a bit of change to work, G2 have to make that final gasping execute. And you have a Fenrir, a Malusi, D4 still available on P9, and the hatching kitchen isn't open. G2 are forced into desperate measures, and it will get impact tricked. They're running out of time, no way out, and I have a feeling no matter how this round goes, G2 are in deep trouble. 15 seconds, and it feels like pressure from main stairs, dirt tunnel, and the hatch will all arrive simultaneously, and Falcons are aware of it. Main stairs gets compromised. No, Doki finds a second, but it might all be a little bit too late. The drop is there, and Falcons have to scrap and brawl inside of Armory. 000 is Virtue. Gemini get one apiece, and Fenrir falls. G2 ice in their veins. Huge round, looked near impossible, and they get it done.
G2 had no right. They had no right with 20 seconds left in the scenario that they were in to win that round, but they did. Nice to see the admins reminding Falcons to stay hydrated. Chat, make sure you're hydrated as well. One person who I know for a fact will be is Fresh, because you guys love to make sure he is. What did you see? Go ahead.
Put a pin in that for one sec. We'll circle back, Gibby. If you're next time you're watching the A stream, you see our wonderful friend Fresh on desk, on the glorious desk for the analyst studio. Remind him, carbohydrate. Put that in chat every time you see him. But Gibby, back to your point.
Yeah, what did you see in the end of that round that allowed G2 to win the round, because it seemed like they had 3 players left alive and they just said, you know what? Dirt, kitchen hatch, main stairs, everybody go, and hopefully something will happen. And they made it work.
Well, a good decision was made. Basically, we know we have to put pressure via the kitchen hatch, so they had someone ready for that. Dirt was open, so a late rotation was called to have someone push from Dirt as well. Doki had main stairs, and it was a multi-pronged attack. It wasn't one-dimensional as perhaps I might have led it to be. Doki winning that fight, that long corridor from bottom main, was huge. Actually critical to winning that round. He doesn't win that fight, the round goes differently. That opened up, that put all the pressure on Falcons, made them uncomfortable in that position, and G2 were able to pick them off one by one. But a very nervous round, as it was 0-0, and a single well-timed C4 could have been enough to unravel the round. But G2, excellent recovery from them, and Falcons keep up that very good early stage that they had previously though.
Yeah, and that'll do G2's confidence the world of good. Winning an ugly round is so important sometimes for just building your momentum, because of course, you're not going to be perfect. We don't see perfection in Siege very often. One of the closest I ever seen to perfection was, of course, G2 in Copenhagen. We'll talk about that game all year long for how well they played, but you need to win the ugly rounds, and that's what they did. Now you're pushing a bit more pressure on the Falcons. You can see that Doki is going to put pressure on Billiards as they look to take control of Kitchen. O'Kills is going to create an angle that's favorable for him as he looks towards Hill, and P9 will manage to catch out Benja as he was making a move for Blue. Virtue is going hunting for the refrag, but P9 is not one to go down without a fight. Kodos is going to drop to Gemini, and Alamau's in the middle of sight already.
This is huge from G2. Massive out of control. And this puts pressure. This is a vocal point the Falcons need to react to. We see P9 trying to do so, but ultimately falls to that gunfight. And he's got a perfect position. If you drop Moto, you're done. And that's exactly what happens to 2 members of Falcons. Triple kill for Alamau, leaving O'Kills alone. The bomb is down. This retake nigh impossible. He'll tap away the looks for one head of a G2 player, but nothing connects. Give himself a little bit of extra cover, but it's all but over. 4K for Alamau, and a huge individual impact from G2. That's what they need, and that's more like your reigning world champions.
Remember when I said he was going to have a big impact in the game? I meant this one. This is the map that I really meant it on. But that
so
is
what you're saying is you were looking into the future. I mean, you did mistake Clubhouse or Cafe in the pre-show, so I'm not surprised you made that there. So
exactly.
You're giving Alamau the look of the Irish buff for this one.
Well, look, whenever G2 made the decision to bring him to Europe, they invested a lot. You know, they went global. They brought Virtue from OCE. They brought Alamau over from Brazil. They made an effort, or they made a big investment in him, knowing that on his day, he can be the difference maker. He's the IGL of this side. Mechanically, he is up there. I'm really impressed by that round. But again, remember whenever we looked at the W7M game against G2, where W7M in the first minute of the round just walked into sight on basement and were able to catch G2 cold. G2 just did the same thing, only they did it down through the hatch, where they dropped that hatch in through Billiards, and Alma was able to take control.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
It was a very, very similar one. I was trying to actually draw my mind back to it. I was like, huh. I couldn't visualize it. It's been lost. We've had so much action today. So many games to follow. So much Tier 1 Siege. I think both me and you are delighted to have more Tier 1 Siege going on. I'm pretty sure everyone in chat is happy to have more Tier 1 Siege going on. It's felt like so long ago since we got to see some of the best teams in the world lock horns play for this, or play for prize like this in a very early opening Logi hatch now. Pressure applied to Falcons directly. Surely, Gemini will be able to get this breach for reasonably free. I believe only a mute jammer at best is going to be placed on it. He can go up high, deploy that, and it'll avoid the radius of the mute jammer. So that's a free breach on Jacuzzi, and pressure directly applied now towards Bathroom.
Little bit higher. There you go. Gemini should now get that breach. P9 still playing over by Jim. No, it's his job to move between Bathroom, but there's 2 kills on the trot. 3 now as Joker adds another one. G2 tried to up the tempo. They all sent it through the hatch, and well, that plan didn't go pretty well. And Falcons are back in it.
A flawless round. I mean, if you want to reply to 2 rounds lost, a flawless round like that, perfect. As you said, G2 wanted to bring in a little bit of extra tempo, a little bit of extra pace and speed. and it fell a little bit short. The starting pistol fired off, and they didn't quite get out of the blocks. They kind of fell straight on their face and were left by the dust of the Falcons. Very well played from them. G2 still lead in this matchup, but there is life in Falcons. They can still react to this. I'm very intrigued to see how this continues to play out as we go to the basement yet again. Third time's the charm, perhaps, Falcons.
Well, for them, they hope so. You know, you got to find some way now to stop G2 from taking the site. The first time they took it, it was a 5-second push that won it. The second time, they upped the tempo tenfold and made their way on the site very quickly. And the big thing is, we always say this, whenever you're attacking basement and the opposition are playing a heavy roam game, if you can get towards site quickly and cut off their retreat to site, it's very, very difficult to lose the round. It's one of those scenarios where it's harder to win the round from that point than it is to lose. And that's the risk you take when you go for a heavy roam game. But at the same time, it does take a bit of bravery from attacking sides to make that call to go all in on the fast approach.
It's often a sign of either confidence, a good shot calling, or a miscommunication when a team gets that fast and aggressive, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you see a weakness, and you're probing it long enough, and you can just like, yeah, let's go, guys. Or it's a very good reactionary play. I think I'm very curious to what the call was made, the G2 that led to that play being made, because Falcons were so ready for it, so aggressively ready, as Benja finds the opening pick. G2 have read Falcons like a book. They knew there was going to be an upstairs presence inside of construction, but they got aggressive, they counter it, and there's a very heavy roam from them. Falcons, I'd consider a fallback site. Now, you don't want to lose one more player of this. Valkyrie goes upstairs as Doki will claim one more member of Falcons. P9 gets a trade back to Benja. Action everywhere across the map so early here on the basement defense. But honestly, G2 in a great position. One more pick and they might be able to cascade on the side. But P9 in a great position. One player in stock and this can be huge. Impact tricks it as well. Denies to him Hibana pellets to retreat all the way to oil pit.
Yeah, Valk impact as well, which is not something you see every single day. O'Kill is still waiting by Adam as well. You do, but that's just by mistake.
No, I'd never misclick my second gadget. Never.
Never been killed by a better player either. It's always siege timing. You know, never lost a gunfight. One would say.
I've lost fights to much better players. There's never when I'm in a rank stack with you. So, minute 10 left in this round. G2 at man advantage, and they're beginning to work through the verticality. Jalad in a great position aggressively. Here's that nade. Pin getting called, fall back, and escapes through that verticality set. Trap laying for him, doesn't catch him, and he can escape back this fight. Kitchen hatch still reinforced. Moto hatch still reinforced. That's going to be vital seconds, and perhaps potential for an impact trick to delay even more time on that main kitchen hatch. Doki gets that Gemini replicator in. Don't know what's there. Free information that he might be able to sneak in and catch them napping.
Yeah, they've fully cleared the space below the hatch as well, which will allow it. But now you got to deal with dirt, and P9 is in position to find that kill, so it's back to a 3 versus 3. Whatever they drop, they need to deal with the long angle that's being held. O'Kills tosses the smoke, which will choke out even more time, but Doki pushed down through main in the midst of all the action. P9 pre-fires through, but the smoke's going to do him a bit of problem. Alamo and Gemini get one apiece, and there's Jalad. Peeks through, gets a second one. It's a 1 versus 1 now, Alamo. But is he got time to get the case down? He's going to go for the res, but the angle is there. Jalad wins it. What a solo play in that 1 versus 3.
Oh my, what a play from Jalad. Finds a miracle against G2. It looked to be another round for the European side, but one player in a 1 versus 3 gets the job done, and we draw level. What a matchup this is, and you gotta feel G2. Pressure's on. You are being tested against a team that is showing that they are of a great caliber. Can they find a way back in this? Will Falcons build up that momentum? Or can G2 get themselves back into that? Remember, Cafe, memories of that, phantoms of that game pass or map pass will still be sitting with G2. No matter how much they try to shake it, they'll know how difficult that matchup was, and Clubhouse might be the same again.
That is one of those rounds. If G2 go home, that's the one they look
10
back
seconds
at and
left
say,
before
yeah,
insertion.
we should have won that. You know,
5 seconds
could
left
Alamo have
before
planted?
insertion.
Could he have picked up the diffuser? Yes. Could it have been a case where he went to pick up the diffuser, but the first thing that came up on F was the res instead of the diffuser? That could have happened as well. I think maybe that's probably what happened in that scenario. But take nothing away. Jalad got the kills, pushed up through the stairs, played the vert because he knew the time was in his favor. Really well played.
You gotta imagine again, has to finish the reload of the SMG11 and sees the Book of Alamau in that revive animation. Is like, well, I gotta do what I gotta do. It's a freebie. I'll take it. And an easy 1v3 for Jalad. Very, very well done indeed. G2 need to find an answer. They started off strong in this. Very good reads of that Falcons defense. Began to waver. Falcons finding a way to win those messy, unclean rounds. That's what you need to do. So, exothermic charge will detonate, and this main wall will be wide open for G2 to sit, post up, and hold and split that side. As Jalad on a little bit of an adventure and excursion down in bar.
Yeah, G2 managed to get the wall open. Doki's pushed his way down. Benja's holding the cross as well, as Jalad needs to be careful, but he might just find this one. Steps in, the vault gives away his noise, gets one, but it's traded back. That's okay. Take your 1-for-1 trade. Both sides will be pretty okay with what just happened. Big problem is Benja, though, not having the sort of impact you would expect. The solution has really not been pretty bright. 1 in 5 so far. In reality, it's Alamau and Doki that are clawing G2 through this one through only 4 rounds. P9 again, though, is having himself a game.
P9 has been activated in this series and has been a proper menace for G2. Ashgar sent up to clear the keeper barriers for Alamau, but a difficult fight. The fire goes out from Capital, forcing a fight, but Alamau loses it. Huge from Joker, looks to find a second and does so. G2 line up 1 by 1. Oh, kills finds Doki. And Gemini alone again. Feels like a recurring story. That shotgun in blue will be a nightmare to fight. Falcons in control again. And they should be able to coast this round out to absolute victory. And they'll take the lead of this map. What a performance from them so far.
Cybertruck DMR, by the way. Just want to point that out there. It is.
Earning more fans is Joker. More people will have his flair in the subreddit now, I guarantee. I'll see more AJoker619 fans as we see Gemini getting 1 back at least on the O kills. But 18 seconds, is it just a fever dream that this might be doable? I think it's pretty safe to say this round is wrapped up and done. Has to go through an Aruni gate, and that's going to be 1 more for the Cybertruck DMR, posted up on rafters. And they're loving life right now, leading against the reigning invitational champions. What a performance, and they look exceptional so far as well.
Imagine people say that the 1.5 is the be-all and end-all on every gun that it's available on. Cybertruck.
We've seen a Thorn with a shotgun in protest at a 1.5, and now refusal to use it. Cybertruck, clearly the best scope in the game. I think we should give that to everyone. Oh, wait, they already have it all. So don't worry about 1.5s. Worry about your Cybertruck. Seemingly the best scope in the game.
So, with that, looks like the coaches, there's now been a timeout called, and there's a little bit of an inquest maybe in the G2 side as to what has happened. 2 rounds back-to-back where they get players in positions to execute. You looked at it, you had Virtue, he used the Capital Bolt, the Fire Bolt, to freeze the player on benches in position. They had the fact they used Doki on Iana to find out exactly where he was with the clone, but they lost their 1. And in that round, winning that 1 was the difference. If they were able to get that kill, you get full garage control, then you can start putting pressure towards site. It just goes to show how in a game of Siege, every gunfight matters.
Siege is the game of the finest margins, Gibby. I think you'll agree with me on that one. And it can be a death by 1,000 paper cuts for G2. You see these little mistakes creeping in, these positions where they're losing 1vx's, right? That Jalad clutch, realistically, he shouldn't win that. The 1 versus 3. You should not win that against a team playing and going through that procedures correctly unless it's a miracle. G2 need to find a way back into this one, because
10 seconds
if
to
you let
insertion.
momentum, you let Falcons build on this and go and build this energy,
5
it can
seconds
be
to go.
difficult to slow down. But little mistakes adding up, G2 feeling that pressure now,
Locate
this is where that you need them to settle in. They've just had Fabian talk to them, begin to correct those mistakes. You need to do that now, because if you go in 3-3 on the half, it's basically a full reset and you have 6 rounds to decide the victor.
See, this is the thing. Falcons take a 4-2 split on a map like Clubhouse. They're going to be feeling really good about themselves. At 3-3, G2 will breathe a sigh of relief that they got it done. Again, the rounds that they have won have not necessarily been pretty. You had the rush and then you had the 5-second push. Now they're going to get that breach open. Again, you're pushing over towards Bar, but this is one part of that task. Virtue has the case all by himself on the entrance. Jalad takes a beating in that gunfight, and you know what? He decides he's going to retreat back and let someone else be the front line of the defense. Honestly, I think that's the smart decision, the business decision that Jalad has just made, because you're Azami. You need to stay alive. You need to keep regenerating those Kiba barriers.
Staying alive to live the fight another day also means your utility and your weapons stay in the fight a little bit later. Benji will find the opening, that's on the O kills, and that's what G2 need. Find the opening and press the advantage from there. But can they do so? Joker in a very difficult position, looking for the find ahead, but Benji's been left in Debrino outside. Virtue will find the Joker. Missing his C4 tossed out to the ether, doesn't connect, doesn't land. But Benja, if recovered, will be left on 20 HP. A single stray round will be enough to shut him down. And a single point of HP is not enough to scare Jalad, as he's down playing below that hatch, waiting for perhaps any member of G2 to vault straight in, as Gemini will get that jacuzzi hatch open just like that.
Well, not yet. Sounds like, did he put it a little bit too low again?
No, he's
there we
got it,
go.
he's got
He had the place. He gets it open, and now that puts more pressure. You got Doki back on his feet. That brings 2 more, or Benja back on his feet. That brings 2 more nades into play as well. So where do we go from here? Well, this just puts some pressure on sight, but P9 finds a very important one. They get another one. It's a 3 versus 1 now, though, as Virtue, Doki, and Alamau look to shut down Jalad, and they do. And G2 take a 3-3 half, and well, now they can begin building. But still, if you had have offered Falcons a 3-3 half on this map with a 1-0 lead in the series already, they would have taken your arm with that offer.
I agree with that one completely. To be in such a great position again, it is not bad to be 3-3. Most games in the current climate of Siege end 3-3 on the opening half. So it's following the script. The thing that's not following the script, I think, to many people watching this at home, will be the 1-0 lead in the series for Falcons. So, the offense. This is a different beast completely for a side like this. They love aggression. They love being in your face. But this map can present some difficult positions to do that. Will G2 use an expansive roam to make this site a very large maze, a task to clear with a perfectly timed drop-down escape? Or will they bunker up and invite that pressure and try and rely on their own mechanics, with time being a massive pressure? I think the answer is a bit of a roam presence, because I see that Mozzie and get instant flashbacks to an extension SSG used to do many moons ago, even though it looks very, very different these days.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
We got to see it in the flesh last year, the Gamers8 when SSG were playing, but again, the game has moved on. There's obviously a plethora of new operators that can be used as well that make that hold a little bit more difficult than it used to be. So what are Falcons going to do on attack? Well, they're going to clear the map. You get yourself up, you've got IQ, you can use that IQ to work out where those FNATs are, you can use it to work out where those Mozzie pests, but again, remember, top tip for you and your rank team, don't say you've lost your drone to a Mozzie or you've lost your drone, you disabled a Mozzie pest. You always got to find the good.
Exactly. You didn't lose a drone, you cleared defender utility. That's all you've done. I mean, yeah, you've lost one of the most important bits of kit you have as an attacker, but it doesn't matter. Your teammates don't need to know that. So, we get into this one. Falcons, they want to go for that roam clear. They want to try and clear the entirety of this site, but will they be able to do that effectively and efficiently, considering the time constraints are going to feel? Doki and Benja upstairs, and that's going to be a very dangerous combination if relying or asked upon their gunplay. We see the double use of those bandit wires, and Benji can trick this as well, and that's exactly what he'll do. So if that's not open, Falcons a little bit beaten to the punch there by G2, and that might begin to mix up their strategy as Alan. P9's in sight. P9 just walked in blue. He saw the extensive roam and realized sight's going to be a little bit weak. He's in AK, and do G2 know about this?
Well, surely Virtue heard it. Surely the two players that are close by heard that noise. But I don't know what it is about G2. They're so susceptible to it, but there's P9 finding his kill. It just seems like if you want to pressure G2, push down blue and go straight into sight. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. He's all alone, all by himself, no diffuser, so he's going to have to battle out, but there's another kill! Almost finds the third onto Gemini, but he holds his ground. But has the damage been done? Joker is in sight. He's got the case in his hands, but I think he needs to find one more kill to be comfortable in this scenario. Well, actually, he finds himself a position in long. Gemini tries to hold a spot, but Kodos finds another one. This is the weakness, the Achilles heel of G2 that has been exposed. Case goes down. So does pretty much all the chance of G2. It's all down to Alamau now. Playing the long angle, but no way Falcons lose this round from here.
I hope you just haven't cursed it for them, but what a play. P9 waltzes down blue, straight in the sight, and a weakness that we've seen exposed against G2 several times. Massive extension, met by direct action, and a 3k unravel G2, and that was huge. Falcons looked to be a little bit stumped, you know. Benjamaster on the bandit trick upstairs presented a problem. They couldn't clear that roam effectively within a good time limit. So, why worry about a roam clear when you can walk directly in the site? Virtue falls in dirt, meaning that's the invitation, that's the main route they'll take, and that's what they done. Falcons flood the site, get the case down, and win a round, and they get themselves one step closer. 1 step, 1 inch closer to claiming a best of 3 victory over G2. What a result that would be for the local team.
Here's the thing though, right? If you want to roam with 2 players, or even 3, on this map, it means that there's going to be one direct avenue to sight that is completely vacant, right? Because Virtue's holding dirt, that's one of them shut down. The chances are the next player is going to be playing somewhere around main stairs, or they're going to be playing a generator. With G2, usually they keep a player in and around church, they keep a player around main. So that means if you want to run 2 roamers, you're leaving blue completely open. They tried to stop the push by using the FNATs instead to signal to the players on site that somebody stepped in, but that didn't work. If a teams can keep picking up on the strat, G2 will have to change the way they defend the site.
I think I'm going to look at Gibby. It's not like it's a new thing, right? Think about during SSG's reign of dominance when they won the invitation. This map was literally their domain, and everyone knew SSG would do their big roam, and if you just push direct, you'd have control. SSG would use a Legion inside of blue, instead of any of those fast access points to give a very clear clue that someone's pushing, and be a problem to deal with, taking them out of the fight for a brief moment. The sound of a Dreadmine's not that loud. It can fade into the action, fade behind comms, and I think that's what happened to Virtue. That's what Falcons capitalized upon, but they're not going to be able to do that one again. All right, this is a hope not for G2's sake, as Alma finds the opening. Joker falls first.
That's big for G2. They really need this round. They're trailing 4-3 here on Clubhouse. Alama was going to go hunting. Just creeps his way past the drone, realizes that it's not active, and there's Gelado pulling one back. The drone still has no clue that Alama was playing in this position. He does lose the gunfight though. Falcons take a 4-3 lead. Anything and everything that could go wrong for G2 is, but it's because of how well Falcons are playing, and it's because of how well they're able to enable themselves to win these gunfights.
That's the big thing. Even if you lose that opening engagement, if you can find that trade back at a decent time and reply to your opposition, that's huge. Ben just summoned into a little bit of pressure upstairs as Logi's been cracked open, and this is where you begin to feel for G2. Pressure mounts. That Falcons have another round, and they are really in the deep water for this. Minute 10 to go, and Doki falls. Jalad finds that. Benja needs to drop, but it's over! Just like that, the roam was compromised, and there's nothing they can do. Falcons in control.
I don't know. I just don't know what G2 are doing wrong. Falcons are playing out of their skins, out of their minds. Again, this is the team that caught everyone's attention last year. They played well, and they won their region in stage 1. They got to phase 2 of the major, and once more on home turf, they are putting in big performances against big teams. This is so good from Falcons, and they are now just 2 rounds away from sending the world champions home.
Oh, that still has a strange flavor, doesn't it, to say that one? Falcons, a team that, basically almost a 1-year anniversary since their introduction to this tier 1 level of competition, international system of Siege. They made that grand stage debut last year at Gamers8, where they went all the way to the final against BDS and forced it to a long best of 5 series where they went 12 rounds every single time. Now, 1 round away from map and series point against the reigning world champions. Can they get it done?
Well, 1 round at a time. That is the way they need to play from this point on. They're beginning to push in. They've got they look at where they're droning. They're droning out garage again. They've realized that rafters is clear. They leave the drone in position to watch their flank, and they're just gonna, have a little look down an oil pit as well to make sure that no sneaky G2 players are on the move. But look where Jalad is already. The only problem he has is the fact that there's 2 sets of barbed wire on those stairs. And I think that's another counter to G2 trying to stop giving Falcons easy access to site.
Good decision. A good adaptation made from G2. Falcons, they're very good at just finding a way into site. That's what they're good at. They want to take gunfights. They know their expertise. They know their ability mechanically is where they're strongest. So if they can find a way in, they'll take that opportunity every single time. Virtue, close to Joker in this position. He'll hear that DMR in construction, but he'll be patient. He'll wait as Alamau close to O kills as well. And Falcons just waiting to pull that trigger to find these opening engagements.
Again, G2 need to do something to stop this assault. Doki is going to get put to DBNO as the nade is going to come through. Or the shots from, you think, Jalad, that or was a Joker, causes a bit of a problem. Alamau stepping up closer and closer to the breach to step on in, and that should have been a freebie, and there it is. It's a 5 versus 3 now. Benja pulls it back, 4 versus 3, but still a big opportunity. Another kill comes through as Joker picks up that one. It's all down to Gemini. All of Falcons pushing their way to get to map and series point. What can the Italian do? This is the moments that they picked him up to try to clutch from these 1vx's with it, and Doki is a sacrificial lamb. He's betting on Doki to get him some intel. He goes for the fight, but he gets taken down, and Falcons move within 1 round of sending the world champions home.
What a storyline this could be. G2 on the precipice of leaving Gamers8 basically empty-handed. What an upset that would be. Gibson, it almost feels weird to say, but you know what I'm getting flashbacks of? I am getting flashbacks of the Raleigh Major, where G2 fell apart at the end. Virtue, head in hands. Where do they have an answer? What can they do? What do they have left? You can feel that energy in the camp. G2, worried, concerned, beginning to question what they have to do to beat Falcons. Great run of form on the offense. I was going to question how good they could be against a team that can be as structured and well-oiled as G2. The answer, exactly what we expected. Falcons show up and do what they do best. Find gunfights, win gunfights, take rounds. Can they do it one more time to send G2 home?
This is the thing. Everything you've done in the past is over the minute you step into the server. And Falcons are playing world champions, but in this game, they have been the better team. They're winning more gunfights. They're playing more structured. They're playing better as a team. There's more cohesion. They deserve to be winning this game. They deserve to have 3 attempts at match point. G2 will need to have a serious introspective look even if they do win this game, because things are looking very bad right now, especially with the fact that we're not overly far away from the rest of the competitive calendar as well. Look at the confidence, though. Gelada's going to step straight through, gets in a 1v1 with Valk, manages to avoid the shots, and steps away. Doesn't lose his life. Alamau missing the opportunity to get the opener. But again, for Falcons, that is not a bad position to be in.
Early challenging, and look at this from G2. They don't want to roam anymore. They've known that, okay, perhaps we got a little bit overcomplicated. We played too much into the map, too much into what we wanted to do. All bunkered up on site. But I think Falcons have realized this. They know they have basically the whole map to run around and get control with, and they can find these fights, look for these fights however they want. So much time that's going to make themselves little highways of rotation. They can hit whatever side of the map they want. Jalad on that knock. Again, remember, the nerf is in place, or the change is in place. No longer muffles the sound of footsteps, only works on observation tools. That was in the recent patch. We're playing on that, of course, here. They'll begin the probe and look for an entryway down the main stairs. Two bodies stacking up, Okills with a nade primed and ready as well. Then they deep and does so, clears utility from that. G2, begin to feel the squeeze, begin to feel that pressure.
It's still 5 players alive and well on the server. At that point, that could be the most important thing here for G2. Minute and 10 seconds, and now you can see utility being caught as those discs try to stop this push. But again, Falcons not rushing into anything, not being overly aggressive. But Jalad makes that move off in the distance. There's your opener, and he moves up oil pit again. Is that the key? Is that the signal weapon for Falcons to make their move? It looks like not just yet.
Falcons hit and run tactics have been deployed. Now, 2 players begin to put pressure and encroach on the blue. A must-win engagement for Gemini now, feeling the pressure, feeling the weight of that G2 badge on his shoulder. 30 seconds remain. Is this the final 30 seconds G2 will play at Gamers8 this year? Only time can tell, but Falcons will wait. They're holding on. They don't want to pull the trigger too early. And a wise decision. 20 seconds, and here comes Joker creeping in. He walks down long. They have got no idea, but Virtue is there to save the day. A flurry of kills. A P9 finds 2. 10 seconds. Can G2 do it? Oh, kills finds Doki, but the case is cold. Virtue needs a clutch up once again for his team, and he cannot do it. Falcons topple Giants. G2 fall, and they go home early.
They saw G2 playing in their backyard in Saudi Arabia, and they put them back to the plane. World champions go home. 75,000 in the back pocket, but the Falcons continue to do what they always do, and that is turn up on home turf. They are going on to the next round. Finally, we get a little sight of Valentino as well. He is loving seeing his teammates take this win, but they're still in the lower bracket. There's still a lot of work to do. But G2 going home on day 1 of Gamers8, nobody saw that coming.
Little mistakes from G2. Every single round there was something, and look at this. We love to see this. A show of respect between these players. G2, while disappointed, still hold our heads up high. A new team, a new roster for them. But man, Falcons, water on once again, showing how good they can be. But every mistake G2 made, every gap that Falcons found, they exploited it. Siege can be a game with death by 1,000 paper cuts. And that's what it was for G2, and you can feel the emotion sinks in as Alamau feels the levity of that loss. But jubilation to the camp of Falcons. Well done from them. They move on to tomorrow. What a series that was. 2-0 victory against G2.
Just devastation on one side, elation on the other. Falcons get the job done. But again, this is another win for MENA Siege. When we were in this region last year, when we met the locals, when we met the fans, they adore this game. They really wanted MENA to be given the opportunity to show what they could do on the international stage. And they made it to the final of the first ever Gamers8 tournament. They've continued to play well over the course of the year. MENA is finally starting to get some recognition. And that there is the biggest scalp that they have ever taken as a team on a big stage, taking down the world champions. Genuinely, I think Falcons are here to stay. They're a great side. And honestly, even if they go home tomorrow, they've still done wonders for Mana Siege.
Last year was the teaser trailer for Falcons inside of competitive Siege. Now they've had a whole stage under our new system, appearance, the phase 2, the Copenhagen Major, and now they've knocked out G2 on the opening day of Gamers8. I think that's a great opening to open everyone's eyes to say this team is the real deal. They can swing, they can bang with the best of it. What a performance that was.
What a game that was. What a day that was here on the Bravo stream. G2 have gone home. M80 have advanced on to the upper bracket where they currently lock heads with NIP. And tomorrow we will have CAG taking on OXG and another game where the loser goes home and the winners will progress in that lower bracket once more. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you guys the action today. But we'll be back tomorrow, I guess.
I can't wait for it, Gibby. I cannot wait. So everyone, keep your eyes peeled on social media. All the times for matches will be posted there. And of course, I believe the A stream match is still going on. So swapping over to that one. But for everyone here at the B stream, that is today finished. We'll catch you all tomorrow for more fantastic